California, the Golden State, home to 40 million people and the world's fifth largest economy. A place of endless sunshine, surf, and opportunity, where dreams are made every single day. But California is also a state of deep secrets, hidden behind fences and locked gates. From abandoned bases to restricted research facilities, there are places you cannot go. Today, we explore 13 places in California where you are not welcome or permitted. These are sites shrouded in mystery, environmental hazards, or classified military operations. Subscribe before we start, and let's dive into the hidden side of the Golden State. We begin our journey in the southern desert, where a resort dream turned into a nightmare. A place where the air itself carries the weight of a century of environmental neglect. Let's look at the first location on our list, a ghost town on a dying sea. Number 13, Bombay Beach, located in Imperial County on the edge of the Salton Sea. The first thing you notice about Bombay Beach is the overwhelming smell of salt and decay. Then you see the fish, or what used to be fish, lining the shores of the receding lake. Bleached white bones of tilapia coat the shoreline in a pale, crunchy crust. The sand has dried hard and flat, leaving a desolate landscape that feels like another planet. Then you notice the buildings, the ones still standing amidst the rising salt and dust. Single-room beach shacks and boat ramps that lead to nowhere, stranded by the receding water. The marina has been landlocked for 30 years, and the water continues to retreat. Bombay Beach was originally designed as a thriving resort community in the mid-20th century. It sits on the eastern shore of the Salton Sea, California's largest and most troubled lake. The lake was created by accident in 1905 when an irrigation canal failed and flooded the basin. For 2 straight years, the Colorado River emptied into the desert, creating a massive lake. For a while, the resulting lake was magnificent, attracting tourists and celebrities alike. Hotels appeared, Frank Sinatra performed nearby, and families flocked to the beaches. But the water started getting saltier due to agricultural runoff from nearby farms. Number 12, Fort Ord, located in Monterey County along the scenic Central Coast. California State University Monterey Bay now sits on a portion of this former military base. The base opened in 1917 and served as a major training facility for the U.S. Army. It closed in 1994, leaving behind a massive footprint of barracks and training grounds. While parts of the base have been redeveloped, vast areas remain strictly off-limits. The campus has a pleasant quality, but danger lurks just beyond the campus borders. Underneath the surrounding land, there are an estimated 1.5 million unexploded munitions. For nearly 8 decades, live-fire exercises were conducted across 28,000 acres. Mortars, grenades, artillery rounds, and anti-tank weapons were regularly used here. Not all of the ordnance detonated, leaving a deadly harvest buried in the soil. The EPA declared Fort Ord a Superfund site in 1990 due to the contamination. While some land has been cleared, thousands of acres remain too contaminated to open. Warning signs caution visitors not to enter, pick up objects, or assume the ground is safe. Yet, these restricted zones have accidentally become important ecological habitats. Rare species like the California tiger salamander thrive because humans are kept out. Number 11, Edwards Air Force Base, situated in the vast desert of Kern County. This base has been at the forefront of aviation history and secret military testing. In 1947, legendary test pilot Chuck Yeager broke the sound barrier above this desert. Flying the Bell X-1, Yeager made history and changed aviation forever at this site. Edwards covers approximately 470 square miles of restricted desert land. An additional 300 square miles of restricted airspace sits directly above the base. It serves as the primary flight test center for the United States Air Force. Famous aircraft like the U-2 spyplane and the State Route 71 Blackbird were tested here. The F-117 stealth fighter and the B-2 Spirit also underwent rigorous testing at Edwards. The Space Shuttle frequently used the base's dry lake bed as a safe landing strip. Rogers Dry Lake provides one of the largest natural runways found anywhere on Earth. What is currently being tested behind these secure borders remains highly classified. Hypersonic weapons research is publicly confirmed to be ongoing at the facility. Local residents frequently report seeing strange lights and aircraft in the night sky. The base routinely closes sections of airspace for unspecified testing activities. Number 10, San Onofre Nuclear Generating Station, located in San Diego County. This decommissioned nuclear plant sits directly on the beautiful Pacific coast. Directly adjacent to the plant is San Onofre State Beach, popular with surfers. While surfers enjoy the waves, millions of pounds of nuclear waste sit nearby. The waste is stored in steel canisters buried in a concrete seawall. The plant operated from 1968 until it was permanently shut down in 2013. A radioactive leak caused by premature tube wear led to its ultimate closure. The spent nuclear fuel cannot be moved because there is no permanent repository. So, the highly radioactive waste remains stored on the edge of the Pacific Ocean. Over 8 million people live within 50 miles of this coastal storage site. The storage canisters were designed for a maximum life of 20 years. The current plan is for them to remain at San Onofre for at least 40 years. The facility sits near active fault lines, raising concerns about earthquake safety. Salt air from the ocean is also highly corrosive to the steel storage canisters. Independent engineers have documented hairline cracks in at least one canister. Number 9, Bohemian Grove, located in the redwood forests of Sonoma County. Every July, some of the world's most powerful men gather at this private campground. Former presidents, cabinet secretaries, and top CEOs spend 2 weeks here. The private property is owned by the Bohemian Club, founded in San Francisco. The club was originally started in 1872 by journalists and artists seeking a retreat. Today, the membership is dominated by political, military, and business elites. The grove is heavily secured with fences, cameras, and professional guards. Uninvited visitors are strictly prosecuted for trespassing on the property. Journalists have occasionally managed to infiltrate the highly secretive gathering. In 2000, a hidden camera captured the club's opening ceremony, Cremation of Care. The ceremony involves a procession of robed figures and the burning of an effigy. The ritual takes place in front of a 40-foot stone owl statue by the lake. The club describes the ceremony as purely theatrical and non-religious. However, the secrecy surrounding the grove continues to fuel public curiosity. It remains one of the most exclusive and restricted private clubs in the country. Number 8, Diablo Canyon Nuclear Power Plant, in San Luis Obispo County. This is the last operating nuclear power plant in the state of California. It generates approximately 9% of the state's total electricity. The plant was scheduled to close, but its operation was recently extended. Concerns over grid reliability prompted the state to keep the plant running. The facility sits inside a heavily guarded and restricted coastal zone. Security vessels patrol the surrounding waters to prevent unauthorized access. The plant's location near active fault lines has been a source of controversy. A Hoskree fault system lies just a few miles offshore from the facility. Another fault, the Shoreline Fault, was discovered in 2008 near the plant. The plant's operator argues the facility can withstand major earthquakes. However, independent seismologists continue to debate the safety of the site. The restricted zone begins miles before you reach the actual facility. Diablo Canyon will continue to operate and store waste for the foreseeable future. It remains a highly secure and controversial landmark on the California coast. Number 7, Coso Rock Art Heritage Site, located inside China Lake. This site contains an incredible concentration of Native American rock art. It is considered one of the most significant archaeological sites in North America. The site holds an estimated 100,000 individual petroglyphs. These images were carved into the volcanic rock by ancient peoples. The carvings date back thousands of years, representing a rich cultural history. Bighorn sheep, human figures, and geometric forms are common designs. The site is a designated National Historic Landmark of immense value. However, very few people have ever seen these petroglyphs in person. This is because the site lies inside a restricted military weapons range. The U.S. Navy controls all access to the vast desert testing area. Civilian entry is only granted occasionally under very strict conditions. Visitors must be escorted by military personnel during pre-approved tours. The surrounding terrain is used for active weapons and missile testing. The military restrictions have ironically protected the petroglyphs from vandalism. Number 6, Mare Island Naval Shipyard, located in Vallejo, California. Established in 1854, this was the Navy's first shipyard on the Pacific coast. For over a century, Mare Island built and repaired hundreds of naval vessels. During World War II, the shipyard operated around the clock with thousands of workers. Nuclear submarines were later constructed here during the height of the Cold War. The shipyard closed in 1996, leaving behind a legacy of industrial decay. While parts of the island are open, significant areas remain restricted. The EPA listed portions of Mare Island as a Superfund site due to contamination. Heavy metals, solvents, and radiological waste contaminated the soil and water. Cleanup efforts have been ongoing for decades to make the land safe. The abandoned industrial buildings are frequently used as filming locations. You have likely seen Mare Island's crumbling dry docks in movies. The restricted zones are strictly enforced to protect the public from hazards. The silence of the empty shipyard contrasts sharply with its busy past. It remains a fascinating but hazardous relic of California's military history. Number 5, Farallon Islands, located 30 miles off San Francisco. On a clear day, these rocky outcroppings are visible from the city. They have been called the Islands of the Dead and the Devil's Teeth. The surrounding waters are treacherous, causing numerous shipwrecks over the years. The islands are closed to the public to protect the sensitive wildlife. Only authorized researchers and wildlife officials are permitted to land. The islands host the largest seabird colony in the contiguous United States. The surrounding waters are also home to a large population of white sharks. But the islands also hide a much darker, radioactive secret. From 1946 to 1970, the ocean floor here was used as a waste dump. Thousands of drums of radioactive waste were dumped into the ocean. Many of the barrels have since broken open, releasing contamination. The EPA concluded that retrieving the barrels would cause more damage. So, the radioactive waste remains on the seafloor, undisturbed. The Farallon Islands remain a beautiful but contaminated wildlife sanctuary. Number 4, China Lake Naval Air Weapons Station, in the Mojave Desert. This massive military installation is larger than the state of Rhode Island. It covers more than 1.1 million acres across 3 California counties. The base controls a vast amount of restricted airspace in the region. Commercial flights must route around this highly secure military zone. China Lake has been a center for weapons development since 1943. Nearly every major naval airborne weapon was tested or developed here. The Sidewinder missile was famously designed and tested at this facility. The base employs thousands of military personnel, civilians, and contractors. Most of the land remains undisturbed desert, closed to the public. The facility conducts advanced testing of missiles and directed energy weapons. Unmanned aircraft and hypersonic systems are also developed at the site. In 2019, a powerful earthquake caused significant damage to the base. The facility was temporarily shut down but has since resumed operations. China Lake remains a critical and highly secure military research center. Number 3, Santa Susana Field Laboratory, located in Ventura County. This former research facility sits in the hills northwest of Los Angeles. In 1959, a nuclear reactor at the site suffered a partial meltdown. Radioactive gases were released directly into the atmosphere during the incident. The reactor had no containment dome, allowing the gas to escape freely. The government did not publicly disclose the accident for 20 years. In 1979, students discovered documents describing the meltdown in archives. Only then did the public learn about the severe contamination at the site. The facility was operated for decades by Rocketdyne and later Boeing. Thousands of rocket engine tests were conducted here for NASA and the military. 10 nuclear reactors operated at the site over its active history. At least 4 of those reactors suffered significant accidents and leaks. Vast residential neighborhoods now sit close to the contaminated property. In 2018, a massive wildfire burned across much of the facility. The fire carried contaminated smoke and ash into surrounding communities. Number 2, the Salton Sea, spanning Imperial and Riverside counties. We return to this dying lake to look at the larger ecological crisis. The lake is one of the most chemically saturated bodies of water. It is fed by agricultural runoff containing pesticides and fertilizers. The lake's sediment holds high levels of lead, chromium, and DDT. The water is now 50% saltier than the Pacific Ocean. Scientists predict the lake will soon support only basic bacteria. As the water recedes, it exposes vast areas of toxic lakebed. The exposed dust is carried by desert winds into nearby valleys. This toxic dust is deposited directly into the lungs of local residents. Many of the affected communities are politically and economically vulnerable. Asthma rates among children near the lake are triple the national average. The state has a legal obligation to restore the sea but has failed to do so. The Salton Sea remains a major environmental and public health disaster. Number 1, Hunters Point Naval Shipyard, located in San Francisco. In 1945, components of the first atomic bomb were loaded onto a ship here. The shipyard was heavily contaminated during post-war nuclear testing. Ships used in Pacific nuclear tests were brought here for decontamination. Workers sandblasted radioactive material off the decks of these ships. Millions of gallons of radioactive fuel oil were burned on the site. The EPA declared Hunters Point a Superfund site in 1989. The Navy has spent over $1 billion on investigation and cleanup. However, the cleanup process was found to be deeply flawed and fraudulent. The primary contractor was caught falsifying soil sample test results. They faked tests to show areas were clean when they were still contaminated. Former supervisors were convicted of federal fraud charges in 2018. The full scope of the falsified cleanup data remains unresolved today. Despite this, plans continue to build thousands of homes on the site. This is the largest residential development project in San Francisco. Future residents may not be fully informed of the soil's toxic history. Thousands of people live in neighborhoods directly adjacent to the shipyard. This historically working-class community has faced hazards for decades. Radioactive glass and soil continue to be found during excavations. Hunters Point remains a major environmental and social justice issue. California will continue to promote its beautiful beaches and opportunities. But now you know what lies behind the fences and under the soil. The hidden history of contamination and military secrets cannot be ignored. These 13 places remind us of the cost of progress and neglect. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Let us know in the comments which of these secrets surprised you most. We will see you in the next video as we uncover more mysteries. Stay safe, stay curious, and keep exploring the world around you. Until next time, goodbye from the Golden State.
Think you know the truth? Drop your theory below. Hit like and subscribe to Atlas Unknown for the next mystery.